Thank you for joining us at Table Talk with Paul and Libby. With our host, Paula Arnold. Our co-host, Libby Patton. Please join our special guests from CASA of the Bluegrass, court-appointed special advocates, as they discuss the resources they have available for families in crisis.
Well, welcome to Table Talk. We are so glad that you have joined us this evening. We have two very special guests that we want to introduce to you tonight, and they are working for a very important cause. And where this might not be surrounded by Scripture and the things of God, we do want you to realize that there are programs out there and there are things that are made available for children and for adults that can bring life and light back into their situations and back into the relationships. So tonight we have Laura Durant and we have Jody Spalding from an organization called CASA. And Laura, why don't you tell us what CASA stands for?
CASA actually stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. So we're CASA of the Bluegrass. We're a large regional program. We serve approximately 350 to 400 children annually who are in the court system due to abuse and neglect. So we provide advocacy services for these children by utilizing community volunteers.
So let me just ask this question. So if a child is being abused, then you provide an attorney for them? Or?
No, we provide a community volunteer who, so the basis of our organization is to recruit, screen, train, and empower individuals in the community who care about kids and want to make a difference, and we give them the tools to be their advocates in court.
Okay, just a second. I call you up and I say, Laura, I have a child that's being abused by their parents. And what do you do then?
Well, and that's a different scenario. So we do get those calls occasionally. Kentucky is actually a mandatory reporting state. So if you know of a child that's being abused and neglected, you call the hotline. There is a child abuse hotline.
So there will be a number up there across the screen that if you are a child and you know someone that's being abused, God does not want any of his children abused, so call the hotline and they will help you.
Yes.
So what do you all go into a little bit more detail?
Yeah, so once that situation has been investigated and it's proven that there's been some abuse and neglect in that scenario, they enter the family court system, and that's so overwhelming. They've got attorneys, social workers, judge. There's going into foster home, and so you can imagine how that feels for a small child being tossed into this precarious situation. We provide community volunteers who are one consistent person throughout their entire stay in the system. So they get to know the child's needs, they interview all the people involved in the situation, and they attend court, and they are the voice for that child in the courtroom.
To find permanency for the child.
Yes, permanency and safety. That is our main goal.
So are you all a nonprofit organization?
Yes, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Yes.
So do you receive donations from surrounding, or is it just government-based strictly?
No, we receive government grants, foundation grants, donations from church groups, fundraising, but the majority of our funding comes from charitable donations, and that's how we exist.
So if you would like to give, that will be up on the screen and show you how to give. But I've just got to get down just a little bit deeper, Jody and Laura. I still don't quite understand what you do.
Well, let me tell you from my point.
Yeah,
I have a personal experience with CASA of the Bluegrass.
Okay, why don't you tell us that and we'll
I was a foster parent for about 8 years. And in that time, I adopted 2 children from the foster care program. During the time we were adopting these children, our children had a CASA worker. And this worker came to our home, interviewed our family, interviewed my biological children, interviewed the adopted children, or soon-to-be adopted children. And they looked at the whole family situation, and they wrote a report up, and they attended court to the adoption hearing, and they said if they thought it was a good thing to get permanency for the children that we adopted. Luckily, we were good for them. And it's a win.
Yeah.
So when I wasn't able to be a foster parent due to some things that took place in my life, but I still wanted to give back So I contacted CASA of the Bluegrass and I became a volunteer, and now I provide advocacy for other children that are in the family court system.
So you didn't get to adopt the children?
Yes, I had my two that I adopted,
Uh-huh.
but I wasn't able to foster parent anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I became a CASA volunteer.
Okay, so
Yes.
great. So if you're out there, that's good.
Yeah.
So like me, maybe, fostering a child is not for me
Right.
for reasons that, because I don't have any children, but I want to help children.
You can be a volunteer.
I could become a CASA
Yes.
Become a
a
CASA
volunteer, and I could make sure then that child is getting into a good foster home with a good foster parents.
Or back with their biological
Or back
families.
with their biological families.
Which
Well,
that's always the ultimate goal, is to get them back to the biological family.
Yeah.
Because
And a
that's
dream
where their
scenario.
roots are, yes.
Yeah.
So do you offer counseling and resources for the parents?
We offer resources as a whole. So we make recommendations for the children. So we might see that child might need a therapy session with a counselor. So we recommend to the judge that they court order therapy sessions. We might suggest that the parents go through parenting classes.
Yeah.
So we indirectly can help the parents as
Oh, that's
well.
great.
Even though the children are our focus, we indirectly can get things ordered by the judge that will help the entire family as a whole.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And like you said, it's the ultimate goal to get the family unit back together.
Yes.
So if these children have been traumatized to a point where they have to have individual counseling, that's available. If the parents are suffering from maybe some kind of addiction abuse, I mean, those resources are available for them too, right?
There's
So-
resources available everywhere. It's making sure that they are ordered to go and that they attend them. And that's kind of part of CASA's work. We check in and make sure that they've been going to their classes or they fulfill their rehab responsibilities and
So
things
do you
like that.
build a relationship then with the child yourself?
Yes.
So you have children that, even though you've adopted children now, but you work for CASA, so you actually go in and you get to bond and build a relationship with this child.
Yes.
And even though they go into the foster home, you still stay in contact with them throughout their time that they're in there. Now, once they're adopted, are you still allowed to continue your relationship with that, or is that the parent's decision then?
It's kind of one of those scenarios, we leave it up to our volunteer and the families. For some children, the court system and their whole experience has been so traumatic. So some families and CASA volunteers feel that it's good to just break ties and say goodbye. But we have some incidents where the children and the families have bonded very closely with the CASA volunteer, and they continue to be a part of their life, not in the legal system, but in a friendly way, just an extra person. I mean, we've had CASA volunteers who've gone to their kids' graduations, to their weddings,
Oh,
yeah.
and so they've made this big, huge impact in that child's life, and they don't want to break that bond. So that's kind of a case by case.
Right.
The children that I adopted, they still have a relationship with their CASA volunteer. So it's a
Jody,
big
you
deal.
really have the excitement in you because,
I
I mean,
love it.
you've adopted two
Yes.
foster children and now you're a CASA worker.
Yes.
So you love that.
I love it. I love helping children that are at risk.
So now, let me ask you a question. Is that a volunteer thing that people do? Do you get paid for it?
Well, we have a paid staff, and so we're bound by Kentucky statute. We have to have staff members for so many volunteers.
Which I've just been hired
She's
as a
just been
paid
hired. She's
staff.
our new volunteer
Oh,
coordinator here in
yes.
Frankfurt.
Yeah, great.
So
Congratulations.
congratulations. Great fit. And so she will be able to supervise up to 30 volunteers and provide the support that they need. She'll help them with their court reports. She'll go with them on home visits if they need it, and be their cheerleader and make sure that they're doing everything that they need to do. And she might be making suggestions to them to help them with their court reports and whatnot. And so our volunteers have a very heavy support system within our staff. That's what keeps them going.
And our volunteers, they have the heart for it. They really and truly love the work that they do with these children because they know that these children do not have a voice of their own.
Right.
They don't get to go to court and they don't get to tell the judge
But
what
you
they
get to
want,
go there.
but we do.
So
They get to tell us what they
you
want.
get to sit down. So if I did it and I wanted to help a child and if I became a volunteer, then I could sit down with a child and talk to them as a CASA volunteer. And if I felt that they needed therapy, or if I felt like maybe the foster family that they were in wasn't the best, I could, so they actually have someone, I'm understanding it now, they actually have a friend or an advocate that's working on their behalf besides the foster system, the foster parents, and
the social workers.
The social worker, just completely out of all that stuff. I would be there just for the child.
Just for the child.
So, you know, because sometimes sometimes I know a lot of people that foster children, and they do a wonderful job, and they've ended up adopting. Like I have one friend, she has like 7 children. She has
It's because
like
you fall in love
adopted,
with them.
and another one adopted like 5, and I'm like, my goodness. But I don't know if I could go that far. But we're gonna have to take a little break, and when we come back, we'll talk about it.
Our next prayer meeting is Wednesday, August 9th from noon to 1 p.m. Please join us.
Well, welcome back. So I'm so excited, so let's just take off where I was. So let's just take somebody like me. I mean, I love children, but I don't have any, and you know, they all know that I got Bubba Ray and Superman and that other little girl. They're my great nieces and nephews, and I love them. But, you know, then I love when they get to go home. And so I've thought about fostering, but I thought, you know, that is too much for me too. But I love this idea because I can mentor a child. I can be involved in a child's life. I can impact that child with good morals and values.
Yes.
And, you know, things. And then I could get to become a part of that child and become like their friend. And they get to trust me. And then if something was not going right in the foster home or something, they could tell me. And then I could tell them I'm representing them.
So this is a lot different than Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
Yes.
This is more of a personal, more of a, even though you can't speak for yourself, I'm here to voice your concern. It's what's going on in your life that's making you maybe still afraid, or and this is coming from the child, and the adult is there, the advocate is there, saying this child is still in this abuse mindset. This child is not flourishing or growing in this environment.
Right.
And we need to do something. So you are that person, and you are that person that says, we just don't feel like this is the best place for them. Versus just having fun. And I mean, but do you do?
We don't take the children anywhere.
We don't transport.
Yeah, that's
but
what
I mean, we meet the kids in libraries or at McDonald's and things like that. And sometimes it's going and having lunch with them at school.
I like to go to the schools.
Yeah.
I like to go to the schools because number one, it gets the kids out of class. They love that.
Yes.
But I would not be allowed to take the child anywhere.
Right. There's no,
But that's good. I kind of like that too, so there's not that much responsibility.
That's right.
Because there's just some people that would like to volunteer with children that can't have that much responsibility. Like me, you know, unless you're, you know, my nieces and nephews, I'm like, sit down, or, you know, but I could become their friend. They could rely on me, and they could tell me if they had a problem or an issue.
So what do you do if you have a child that just refuses to open up? That just
That happens.
Yeah.
You do your best to make sure that you're collecting all the other pieces of the puzzle to present to the judge. So maybe if that child's not opening up to you, maybe you're having more in-depth conversations with their caretakers, the school counselors, their medical professionals, their therapists, to figure out, what's really going on. So, I mean, teenagers, for example, sometimes can be really hard to crack if they've been through trauma. And that's kind of typical in many scenarios. So you do your best to get all the other people involved and get their point of view to try to make sure that those children's needs are being met.
As a volunteer, we have a court order from the judge that allows us to speak to anyone that is affiliated with that child.
So
we can talk to the school staff, doctors, therapists, anyone that works with that child.
Let me say this. You may be asking, well, this is a completely different show. Y'all talk about Jesus and the Bible, and there's not this tonight. But I want you to know that anytime there's children, there's God involved, and God loves all children. He said, I love all children. And so we want you to know that these ladies are Christian people, and they work for agency, and they have to be very careful in what they say, but it's still a good thing that you are doing, and it's a godly thing in mine and Libby's eyes. So we wanted to put it out there for the public so that children will know, because there could be children watching this. And I want to say this to you: if you are living in a place that maybe you don't have this advocacy, because not everybody has one, and you would like to have one, or you feel like you need one, the children could call, couldn't they?
Essentially they could. We would be able to then refer them through the proper channels to get them the assistance they need.
I just want to make them feel secure. So there'll be a number up on the screen for children that feel that way. So because out of the love of God of being living, we want to show how good and great this program is and for helping children.
Yes. Well, Jesus said, "Suffer not the little children to come unto me."
So let me ask you this: what does it take for me to become a volunteer?
Well, it takes about 30 hours of training. So all of our volunteers, we bring them in, we do thorough background checks. You have to be 21 years old, have a driver's license. You're not going to make it already. Hey, we get college students all the time very interested in volunteering. So, have a valid driver's license, pass the background checks, and then we interview all of these individuals to make sure that they're going to be a good fit with our program. Because sometimes, people have the good heart and intent, but we find out during the interview that there might be some issues, like they had something occur to them when they were younger that they've not gotten past.
Okay. Well, that's good.
And we want to make sure. Right. And so we interview all of our volunteers to make sure they're suitable, and then they go through a 30-hour training. It's split up over several weeks.
But you know what? If you did have someone that had some things from their background that they got past, and then you put them with a child that had some of those issues that could help them.
Yes, and so we've had it both ways, and so it's wonderful.
So not everybody can be a volunteer.
It's not necessarily. It's not something everybody can do. I think that sometimes when people get into the training, they realize that it might be a little too heavy for them. But we also try to work very carefully to make sure that we pair our volunteers with appropriate cases. We're not just going to match our volunteers with any case. So if we ask...
So if I came on and let's say that, I used to really favor little girls because I had 2 nieces and I just love little girls. My nieces grew up. And now I've got these little boys, and none of these little girls. So now I kind of favor boys. So could I say, I kind of like, I really love little girls. I really connect better with little boys.
Yes, we've had some who say, I just want infants only. We've had some who say,
only want
teenagers or middle schoolers. And so we want to make sure our volunteers flourish and do the best job they can do. So we're very careful on how we pair them with the children that they serve. We have some volunteers who say, I don't want to have anything to do with sex abuse. I don't want to deal with a case that has that. So we're very careful to place them with maybe something else, maybe a neglect case or something like that. So
the volunteers have a choice.
Yes.
And your number will be up on the screen if you would like to become a volunteer. I think this is a very wonderful thing because you're not adopting anything, you're not taking on anything permanent.
We
but
do
you're-
ask that people commit for 1 year.
1 year.
but
because
you
that's how long
are-
a case can
You
last.
are helping a child, and if you want to help a child, but you can't do the other things, this is a good way to help.
Most
And
definitely.
so the 30 hours are volunteer, is that set hours, or can they come, you know?
The training, and so the we have classes several times throughout the year. They usually meet on like a Tuesday or Thursday night, and you're with other individuals training, and there's a whole curriculum you go through. But you get to meet the judges. We have attorneys that come in and speak, a lot of guest speakers in the system to help everyone understand what's really going on in the family court system. But you're learning everything from early child development to how to deal with trauma, learning about the court system, how to write a report. It's really comprehensive, but really interesting at the same time.
Let's me and you talk a minute about them, okay? Don't you think that how pleased God would be for someone to step up to the plate, to be a volunteer,
Oh,
to help
absolutely.
love a child,
Yes.
and love them in such a way that you'd want to help them and do these things for them?
Yes, and I think just having the opportunity for it not to be such a huge responsibility.
Right.
I mean, someone could actually use it as their ministry.
They could.
You know, and that way
Yes.
they're not
Yes.
intricately connected
Right.
to the point where when it is time to break free, that
Yes.
it's not, I mean, of course it's going to be a little bit of a soul tie. Like Jody said, you fall in love with these children. And, you know, you really want to see them taken care of.
Well, and you might want to pray before you get there and ask the Lord, you know, get me with somebody that I might can go on.
Right.
Like, you know, I could really see my sisters doing this. They really love children. And, you know, especially Lynn, she has a degree in child development. And make a ministry out of it without having to put that into the politics.
Right.
Yes.
That's why we're trying,
Yes.
we're talking about to ourselves right now, not involving you all,
Okay.
because we have to be very careful in the world of politics, but God understands that. But yeah, this could actually become someone's ministry to them.
It could. And
We
I think-
speak to a lot of churches. We go to a lot of church groups to recruit our volunteers, ministry fairs, things like that. So we try to recruit a huge, you know, demographic of individuals, civic
You're just,
groups.
it's just that you're
Yeah.
not gonna be, you don't care where the child come from, what
Right.
color the child
No.
is.
What they believe.
What they believe. You're just there to help them.
Right.
And Jesus loves them because he loves all the little children of the world. And so that is so great. That I may have to think on that. Now let me ask you a question on that 30-hour training. Is that all like
This is where she's going to get hung up.
Yeah. Is that all like in like 8 weeks or?
Now, Laura, let me say, that's kind of on me, right? If she's in Franklin County,
Right,
that's on me.
right.
So you and
So-
I could work out an agreement.
Yeah.
And we could do our training on your schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well,
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, we only have about 3 minutes left, believe it or not.
I
know.
so fast.
So if you all want to be saying anything that you feel that's really important, we're just going to stop and let you all start
Okay.
talking right now,
Okay. Yeah, so we offer different training types. So you can have a one-on-one training. We have training in groups. And so there's several different ways we can get all of our volunteers trained. So if that's something you're really interested in, your heart's calling you to do it, Jody is your person here in
Yes.
Franklin County to get you going on that training. And it goes by really quick. And
Yeah.
it's in
Very
small
quick.
segments. It's a
Yeah.
chapter at a time, two
Right.
to 3 hours a chapter.
And we give you the curriculum
Yes.
to go home with you,
And
so you
what
can
do
study.
what do you do there exactly, Laura? What is your title?
I'm the executive director of our entire program. So we serve 4 counties, Anderson, Boyle, Franklin, and Mercer. And so I'm floating between all of these offices, making sure that, you know,
And so every county has a volunteer, and now
Coordinator.
Jody is the volunteer. And so Jody would work with you, and she would also work around your schedule. If you had to work a night, she could train you on another night. So it's not like set 30 hours.
Right.
Here, she will work around your schedule
Mhm.
if you want to become a volunteer.
I think that's wonderful.
I do
It's
too.
just-
I
think
love it. It
it's
is
very,
great.
very wonderful. I didn't really know what you were talking about when you first came on, but now I know, and it's really touching my heart. And to think that you all love children that much, that, you know, you know, because it's hard. I'm sure it's very hard to
It's very
transition.
difficult, I'm sure.
But they, even to go into the foster home, they still have somebody else to talk to, because I'm just gonna say, not every foster home is a great big ball of balloons floating around.
No.
And if that child has a problem in the foster home, they have someone to talk to. And I did not know that.
Yes.
So this is so important, this volunteer, because it gives the child someone else to trust in.
Right.
Well, we just want to, encourage you tonight that if you do feel in your heart that you have a call to this type of ministry or this type of work as an advocate for children from the ages of infancy to teenagers, please get in contact with this organization. Contact Jody. Let her get you into a place, into a program, into some training that can help these children. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
You'll have to come back again.
Yes.
you.
All right, well, this is Table Talk, and God bless.